Released only a few months ago, Pokemon Sun and Moon stand as a fandom-dividing game with arguably the largest coat of polish in regards to visual and auditory design. Now, whether or not you, as a player, feel the game deserves praise, it's obvious Game Freak put an immense amount of effort into creation. And because of this, rumors of the game being ported over to Nintendo's next console were circulating even before the game was released. Pokemon Stars, or Pokemon Eclipse depending on who you ask, is the much assumed re-release of the Alola region. Most won't argue over the game's inevitable release. Instead, players are divided on these systems it would be released on: 3DS, Switch, or both. Lately, Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo themselves haven't been helping their case with these rumors. However, to fully understand the situation, we have to go back to September 20th of last year. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Tsukazu Ishihara, president and CEO of the Pokemon Company, stated, quote, "The NX is trying to change the concept of what it means to be a home console device or a handheld device. We will make games for the NX." Then declining to comment on exactly what would be brought to the hardware. On the day of Sun and Moon's release, Eurogamer runs a story stating that a version of the game will be released on the Nintendo Switch in 2017, codenamed Stars. According to Eurogamer, the teaser for the game from February of 2016 included a shot of the development on Stars being the model of Pick-a-Peck. The Eurogamer rumor states that Stars has been in development in conjunction with Sun and Moon. Now keep the idea of conjunctional development in mind. Eurogamer, and specifically the writer of the article, Tom Phillips, have been incredibly confident in their sources behind this rumor. Phillips stating multiple times on his Twitter that the rumor holds validity and that everything was, quote, triple sourced. As for Eurogamer, their track record has been decent in recent times, getting the Switch's controllers and cartridge use, scale bounce cancellation, and the PS4 Pro's existence correct. That isn't to say they've had their fair share of falsehoods. Eurogamer seems incredibly confident in Pokemon Stars. Data miners quickly took the game and found walking and running animations for every Pokemon and a fourth enemy encounter music track. I have not mentioned everything found in the data mines. However, the things listed are the things that seem to be most related to Pokemon Stars, as the games were developed at the same time, so some features that were only deemed to be possible for the Switch hardware or created to distinguish the two releases were left out of the Generation 8's initial release, but were left within the files. This is around the same time Game Freak lists a job opening for a 3D CG designer, stating the job is on a globally popular RPG series and the job is requiring person and monster character models to be created. The job is an urgent posting, meaning the project is needing help as soon as possible. In April, following the release of the Nintendo Switch, the Pokemon Company Japan releases a set of night sky themed merch with the ad tagline of "Look upon the stars," being plushes, bags, pouches, Pokemon Constellation keychains, towels, scrunchies, and socks. Soon after that, Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Japan unlisted the Pokemon Direct and Gen 8 reveal from YouTube. Mainline Pokemon games have traditionally not been announced at E3, instead through CoroCoro and more recently through their own Nintendo Direct. However, based on all of the previously listed information, we may see something soon, possibly even breaking the tradition of E3. And there isn't much time left for the wait, and Nintendo has announced this year's plans. On June 13th at noon Eastern Standard Time, there will be the Nintendo E3 Direct, with the official website's description reading that they will cover all of the Switch games launching through 2017, with a large focus on Super Mario Odyssey. This will be followed by the Treehouse streams, which will hold their own announcements, as stated by the description, quote, and maybe even share some surprises. Now, if Stars is announced at E3, it will hold a 2017 release, and most worrying over the possible underwhelming nature of the presentation, due mostly to the 2017 game's descriptions, should not worry. First, Fizeme has been on record stating, quote, "We're going to have a big E3 this year."
E3 is always a big time for Nintendo. We look at each E3 as a unique opportunity to tell our story. And we're going to have a big E3 this year. We're going to be showcasing a variety of games. We will have experiences for consumers who will be able to attend the show for the very first time. So I'm not going to tell you all of the various games and all of our little secrets for E3, but I can tell you that E3 is going to be a major opportunity for us to showcase not only Nintendo Switch, but also content coming to the Nintendo 3DS.
Also, the Switch has done better than most have expected, prompting third parties to jump over to the Nintendo camp. For example, EA CEO Andrew Wilson stated in an investor conference call,
So we feel really good about it. Again, you know, we came out early and said that we'll be supporting the Nintendo Switch with our biggest title in FIFA. We have a tremendous relationship with Nintendo and have done for many, many years, and are excited by the fact that they have come out very strong and are bringing in, you know, a whole new player base into the ecosystem. We continue to be bullish on it and are looking at other titles that we might bring to the Switch. Our console number that we quoted does not include the Switch at this point. So anything that Nintendo does is additive to that number.
and this is a huge difference from only a few months ago, when Wilson asked the question, quote, will people be interested in a portable device along with their regular portable device that they already own today? And this is on top of Nintendo asking a major third-party publisher to push big box releases, quote, as early as possible. Although this follows the news of Kimishima, president of Nintendo of Japan, stating, quote, I don't think we can readily achieve the target of selling 10 million units, although they have already shifted 2.74 million within the first month of sales. So a strong E3 lineup with unpredictable moves from third parties is required and most likely coming. So expect announcements from both Nintendo and major third parties that will excite both the major demographics. Old franchises, new concepts with new IPs, and Mario used in some form. A Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga remake called Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions was leaked on Twitter through the Nintendo eShop. So that's probably also something that will be announced. The Japanese Splatoon Twitter has been busy with world building, showing off advertisements for the in-game clothing brands, and have thus far shown off 4. The punk look by Anaki, the posh designer brands by Tataken Saki, the sportswear by Arome, and the luxury casual clothing by Jimo. The attention to detail continues in an interview with Splatoon 2's producer Hisashi Nogami by Edge magazine, where story in both the single and multiplayer is discussed. However, the major announcement within this interview is that the map rotation is now halved, only taking place over 2 hours. In the same Edge issue, ARMS was the cover story, where the magazine called the game, quote, an instant delight. Edge spoke with Kosuke Yabuki, ARMS producer, and like the Splatoon interview, much of the info could be found in other promo materials. However, Yabuki detailed the non-motion based controls, with the punches being thrown on the trigger buttons, jump and dash being on the standard buttons, and clicking the left stick, guards. Items were also detailed, being carried by a floating robot to be picked up in battle. Astute Reddit users were able to find one of these robots in the last Nintendo Direct. On the ARMS Japanese Twitter, a large amount of content has been posted, showing off stage, cosmetics, and promo art. According to the Wall Street Journal, mobile developer and Nintendo partner Dina will be releasing a fully fledged Zelda mobile game following the previously announced Animal Crossing, which will be out this fiscal year, which means it'll be out by March of 2018. No information past the announcements has gone public. Dina's previous game, Fire Emblem Heroes, has continually received a wealth of updates, including the recent 1.3 update, which include a new ranking ladder, maps, and a new training tower used for grinding. Data mining has also found a boat map, new terrain, new debuff icon, and Narcian making a return within the files. This is on top of future Japanese DLC being announced in conjunction with card game Fire Emblem Zero, announced by the card game developers on a live stream. These include cosmetic items based on Emma, Shade, Yazu, and Lando, Fire Emblem Zero's mascots, and 2 missions that include those 4 characters fully voice acted. This DLC has been confirmed to be released in other regions, however not in the same way, as specifically the cosmetic DLC will be given out in Fire Emblem Zero Series 9 starter packs, a trading card game that doesn't even exist outside of Japan. However, seeing that Echos is releasing in only a few days, we will probably learn very soon how the DLC will be released. Now on the 3DS front in general, Nintendo held a press event themed around the newly announced 2DS XL, and this summer's major 3DS releases, Miitopia, Hey Pikmin, and Ever Oasis, had direct feed footage and many details of each game being released to the public. However, seeing that these games are soon to come out, delving into these details is a bit redundant. Just go look up the direct feed footage. And anyways, this is the new format. I'm trying to present this as if it was a legitimate Nintendo Direct, and I want to be able to cover anything that Nintendo touches. I want to cover Pokemon cards, I want to cover every game that comes out, and if you have any recommendations on this format, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm aiming for one of these every 2 weeks, and if I feel like making another type of Nintendo News Network video, it'll come out in between those. If anybody wants to see another Nintendo video I had a hand in creating, go check out my girlfriend's channel, Electra News Network. for a pretty long video on Zelda Breath of the Wild. Link down in the description below. So, thank you very much for watching. I'm Tyler McVicker. This is Nintendo News Network. Have a good day. Adios.